Julian. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Ari.
Yesterday, we interviewed Adam Back. Today, we interview you. So
It's an honor.
It's a
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Few questions for you. Do you see more Bitcoin as a saving or as an investment?
I see Bitcoin as the best savings technology ever invented. I think first it needs to go through these three phases, as every new form of money or new asset does. First, store of value. And I think here we are in the middle of the development phase of Bitcoin becoming a store of value, established more as a store of value in everyone's portfolio. Once it's achieved that, it might become, but this can take a few decades though, it might become a real means of payment.
Yeah.
And then at the end also a unit of account. But currently I see, some Bitcoin enthusiasts use Bitcoin and sats to pay Lightning here in Lugano. You can pay with Bitcoin everywhere, in McDonald's and the coffee shops. It's great. But I don't think many people really use it. I don't think this is the biggest problem we have to solve in money, especially in Western countries like Switzerland. There is a much bigger problem to solve in store of value, having an independent form of money, of asset that cannot be printed, that cannot be censored, that is borderless, that is decentralized, that is neutral, and that you can hold yourself in a self-custodial way, in a digital way. So therefore, I see Bitcoin much more as a store of value, not yet really as a means of payment.
Do you see Bitcoin as a better asset than gold? And if so, why?
Yeah, I see Bitcoin probably as the best asset ever invented. Better than gold, better than real estate, better than stocks and bonds, better than anything else. Of course, better than other cryptocurrencies. Why better than gold is, I think it shares a lot of the characteristics of gold. Like it's a scarce asset, but it's even more scarce than gold because you can always find more gold. We're not sure how much gold there is. In Bitcoin, we know we will not find more Bitcoin on Earth and anywhere else in the universe. There's just 21 million Bitcoin, not more. So it's absolutely fixed supply. It's also as gold, you can hold it yourself. That's great. Banks cannot print more of it. That's great. It cannot be censored. That's great. But it's because it's digital. Bitcoin is the better gold because you could easily and cheaply send it to Africa, to South America, to anywhere you want within seconds over the internet. Because it's digital, you can bring it wherever you want. You can have millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin in your head. 12 words, travel the world. It's borderless. It's independent. So. Because it's digital, it shares the good attributes of gold, but it adds great attributes on top. So makes it the best store of value or overall the best asset that I can do.
Great. Just a few weeks ago, Sina Meyer from 21 Shares just said that she had 20% of her portfolio in Bitcoin.
Okay.
What's your recommendation regarding the allocation?
I can and don't want to make any financial advice, but
because you would say 100% in Bitcoin?
No, not necessarily. I don't have 100%. I have maybe, for me, it's like 60-70%. It's definitely the biggest part of my wealth, but also I think there is value in some sort of diversification, and it really depends on the investor profile as well. Well, I'm young. I have a very long, decades-long investment horizon. I do understand Bitcoin well, so for me it makes sense to have big portfolio. Now, for someone that is maybe older, that has less of a horizon and that understands Bitcoin, it makes maybe sense to start smaller and have, like BlackRock says, 2% allocation. Some have a 10% allocation. What I would recommend everyone is really to think about his portfolio or her portfolio, how much he or she wants to allocate to Bitcoin, really understand Bitcoin well. I think what's important is to have some Bitcoin. It doesn't really matter how much. It's just important to get off zero.
That's what you said yesterday.
That's what, just get off zero and you will learn and you will develop into it and you will really get comfort in having some allocation in your portfolio. That's the important part. It's not really important how much it is. I think it depends on the person, on the circumstances, and it's just bad to have nothing. That's really bad.
Because I'm not in the financial sector. So if you just look at the portfolio, like the 60-40, if you just allocate 1% more of Bitcoin in it, each 1% more, you get 0.1 more of the Sharpe ratio. That means that the more you get, the more you have Bitcoin in your portfolio, the less risky it is. Right. So at the end, I'm a bit confused because the more you have, the less risky it is. But people say that the more Bitcoin you have in your portfolio, the more risky it is.
But it depends on the time horizon too. Like it to a certain degree, what you say is absolutely right. But then when you get closer to 100% of your portfolio, while Bitcoin is still short-term very volatile, right? So if you have 99% of your portfolio in Bitcoin, and then you need money tomorrow, Bitcoin might be down. You might be underwater with your portfolio. And then it's not good to have no cash, for example, because if your car breaks down tomorrow, you need cash. You need to sell Bitcoin when it's like at below 100K and you're like minus 20%. That's not good, right? So you want this allocation to Bitcoin to be long-term. You want to hold this for at least 5 years. That's the patient makes the return, right? And so you always you never want to be forced to sell Bitcoin. I think that's the very crucial part in construction with your portfolio. I agree with you. I think like, the more the better.
If you have a Bitcoin with a 84.5% return since 10 years, if you do not have any Bitcoin, then you have a risky portfolio.
Yes, it's more risky to not have Bitcoin than to have Bitcoin. I agree.
You launched Relai just after your study, right?
Mm-hmm.
More or less.
Pretty much, yeah.
What brought you to Bitcoin during your study?
So I launched Relai around 5 years ago, where I finished my studies. That's correct, and I got into Bitcoin like 10 years ago.
Okay.
While I was studying, I was just starting my studies, and I studied psychology and business administration. So I understood nothing about technology, but I was very interested in finance, stocks, and investing. Even though I didn't have a lot of money, that was very interesting to me, the whole money, personal finance topic. Yeah. But I got into Bitcoin through a friend who studied tech. He's an engineer, and he brought it to me from a tech perspective. He found the blockchain technology super interesting, and I saw it from very different angles. I found it interesting as an asset from a financial perspective, and I think that's where it clicked between two of us. And so, but it was too complicated for me to invest, so I asked him to invest for me, and that's how I got into it and learned also more about the technology. But I just found it super fascinating when he told me about the attributes. That it's an asset that can be traded 24/7 without a bank, without any counterpart risk, lives on the internet basically. It looks like a commodity, it looks like a company, it looks like money, but it's none of these things, but something this asset that you can move everywhere in the world on the internet. You can hold it yourself, trade it 24/7. That was just really fascinating to me. I thought this can have big potential.
But did you earn Bitcoin with the reCAPTCHA? Because I lost some. Just no? Okay.
I was not, no, I didn't. I think I never really earned Bitcoin, or I never really collected Bitcoin. Just basically in 2015, through my friend, I bought my first Bitcoin.
So you trusted the third party?
Oh yeah. But it's better to trust a friend than a bank, right?
Right. So with Relai, self-custody is a core philosophy of your product, right? In your whole life, did you ever lose some Bitcoin?
I lost all of them in a boating accident. No, I never lost Bitcoin. I think I gambled some away. I never lost a private key. I never lost access to my Bitcoin. But I did a lot of stupid shit that made Bitcoin go away from me, which now I regret a lot.
Okay. So what's your biggest mistake with Bitcoin?
I think my biggest mistake was, and that was maybe a year or two after I found out about Bitcoin. I had a few Bitcoins. And then there was this Telegram bot. It's basically a game. where you could send one Bitcoin and you either get 2 back or you lose. And it worked once. I sent 1, I got 2 back. And then I got greedy and I sent 2 and I got 9. So yeah, I bet you could say I lost 2 Bitcoin just because I was gambling. And back then Bitcoin was not. It was probably 1K. But now it would be 200.
So you just got your license.
Yes. Relai.
Congrats.
I didn't get it. Relai.
What's the next step for Relai?
Well, this means now the European market is basically open. It's a really, really big step for Relai. It is very hard work. For 2 years we worked on it to get this MiCA license. This means that now basically the whole European market is open for active customer acquisition. So you can now market and do the growth campaigns and marketing initiatives and sponsoring events. And this means we are one of the very few Bitcoin-only companies that now conquer to and expand to Europe. So that's very exciting, and there's a lot of potential for the business and for our onboarding more people to Bitcoin. We can now open our office in Paris. Basically, what it means is from an 8 million market, 8 million people market, Switzerland, that we could actively approach. We can now approach a market of 400 million.
Yeah, that's
so. This will definitely improve our business, increase our business. We will be able to grow. We'll be able to fundraise more in the future. We'll grow even more beyond Europe. So that was a very, very important step for us. Not only for us, but also for the Bitcoin industry in general, because now we can onboard many more people. So Bitcoin educate more people because we are allowed to communicate about Bitcoin, about Relai in the whole Europe. So I think it's a very big step.
So the next step is a Middle East license, or?
Next step will be probably UK.
Okay.
Which that's not included in MiCA, and then Middle East, and then US. But step by step. It will take a while.
For someone that's never invested or saved in Bitcoin, what would be your recommendations?
Don't jump into conclusions. Just first start to learn. First, understand the problem of ordinary money, fiat money, why saving is so hard, why your bank account basically loses purchasing power every year, why you do need to take so much risk to invest in stocks just to keep your purchasing power, understand inflation, understand monetary expansion, understand the problem that we have in saving today, and then understand Bitcoin, how this can be a solution for that problem. And then if you come to the conclusion, and most people come to the conclusion that, oh, actually Bitcoin helps me save money, help me save value, store value long-term in the future, then only then let's start buying a little bit. You can start with $50. Start buying for small amounts. Start holding it yourself. Start talking to people about it, learn more about it. And then most people go through the journey and go down the rabbit hole. The more they understand Bitcoin, the more they want to own. The bigger part of their portfolio will be Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So that's basically my understand the problem, understand the solution, which is Bitcoin, and then get into off zero.
One last question. When I talk to people, they said, okay, Bitcoin has no value compared to companies that have products that launch more products and so on. So there is something behind the companies. That's why they invest in stuff. But they don't see the real value behind Bitcoin. So what do you say? What do you answer to that?
Different assets can have value, and the value comes from different sources. So the source of value from a stock is, okay, an Apple stake, for example. They make a lot of revenue. They issue innovative products that will make them more revenue in the future. They have 1 billion or 2 billion customers when they launch new products. Of course, they will make more revenue in the future. So that's why this is where the value comes from. Always more money that will be made from these companies that grow stock and participate in this revenue growth. Then there's other, like for example, real estate. it has value because there's only limited a number of apartments, for example, in Lugano, central to the city, that you could buy. There are more and more people, so it's a scarce supply, and the demand that is growing. Of course, the value will also increase. And similar to gold, for example, gold doesn't produce any cash flow. Real estate can also produce cash flow, right? So it's a mix. But gold, for example, does not produce cash flow, but it has value. It has a market cap of more than 20 trillion. And it's scarce supply again. Demand that is growing. That's why the price is growing. It's one of the most valuable assets in the world. Bitcoin is similar to gold. It doesn't derive its value from cash.
They don't see it. Yes. They can see apartments. They can see gold because it's here. They can't see
It's probably because it's new. They cannot touch it,
Yeah.
cannot feel it. But once they understand that it is like gold, just better and digital, it's hard to understand. That's why you need to spend a few hours, maybe 100 hours, to understand how Bitcoin works, what it really is. And the longer Bitcoin is live, the more it's trusted by more people, more governments, more regulators, more institutions, more companies. The more people really understand it is a proper asset. You see this in prominent figures like Larry Fink, for example. 5 years ago, he was a skeptic. Now he is a big promoter.
Thanks a lot.